All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for logging on and checking out my video. This is our first episode, and I'm going to call this Breaking of Bad Habits Theory 101. In Tejano music culture, Mexicano culture, whatever you want to call it, we were taught three primary chords, and we referred to them as Primera, Segunda, Tercera. Now, although the terminology does hold some water, it is actually incorrect. I'll elaborate, I'll explain. So, let's take it in the key of C, for example, okay? This is what we call tonic in music. Now, it's also called the primary, primera. Now, the second most important chord is the dominant chord. And it's called the dominant chord because it creates a lot of tension and it resolves nicely to the primary chord. Okay, so the second most important chord is your 5 chord, which is in this case G, since we're in the key of C, and we call that segunda, but in theory it's actually the 5th chord because G is the 5th degree up from the scale. For in C it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. The next chord that we often hear referred to as tercera is the subdominant, which still doesn't resolve as nicely to the 1 chord unless you're doing the amen cadence, which is, sounds very churchy. Amen. Okay. Now, the subdominant chord is the 3rd most important chord, followed by the 2nd most important chord, and the 1st. Okay? So that's why we got tercera, segunda, and primera. Now, we have to break ourselves of the habit of calling them by 1st, 2nd, 3rd because as we go up the scales in degrees, this is 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, so on and so forth, 7th, and C again, which is the octave or 1. Now, this will help in arranging and knowing where to put in other chords besides your 3 primary, dominant, subdominant, and primary chords. So, as we can see in the C scale, there are no sharps and no flats. So, the 2nd degree would be D, but it's actually a D minor because a D major would have a major 3rd right there. We'll get into that a little later. Same with the E. The E is minor, F is major, G is major, A is minor again, B is diminished, and then C obviously is major. Okay, so just to summarize everything, it's not primera, segunda, tercera. It's 1, 5, and 4. 1, 5, 4. Also, feel free to call them tonic, dominant, and subdominant. Thank you.